Reverend James Cleveland. I met him like 4 times in my life.
James Cleveland, hailed as the king of gospel for his heavenly music and 4 Grammy Awards, was widely celebrated during his lifetime. However, following his death in 1991, shocking revelations emerged that tarnished his legacy. His son, Christopher Harris, revealed unsettling truths that sent shockwaves through the gospel community. So what hidden actions led to Cleveland, once revered, being labeled as the most controversial figure in gospel music history? Keep watching to find out. But before delving into the chilling revelations about James Cleveland, it's essential to explore the early events that shaped his life. Early years and career. James Cleveland, born on December 5, 1931, in the vibrant city of Chicago, was immersed in a rich tapestry of gospel music from an early age. Raised by hard-working and deeply religious parents, James grew up in a household where faith and music intertwined seamlessly. His grandmother, a devout woman, played a pivotal role in his upbringing, introducing him to the transformative power of gospel music at Pilgrim Baptist Church, a cornerstone of Chicago's gospel scene. From a tender age, James displayed a remarkable talent for music. At just 8 years old, he made his solo debut with the church choir, captivating all who heard him. Recognizing his potential, the church's choir director, Thomas A. Dorsey, widely regarded as the father of gospel music, took James under his wing. Dorsey's mentorship proved instrumental in shaping the young prodigy into the future gospel legend he would become. James's formative years were infused with music and inspiration. He deeply admired Roberta Martin, a trailblazing gospel singer and pianist who also graced the stages of Pilgrim Baptist Church. It was Martin's influential group, the Roberta Martin Singers, that played a pivotal role in molding James's distinctive musical style, setting the stage for his remarkable journey in gospel music. Inspired by Roberta Martin, young James Cleveland began to cultivate his own musical compositions, a skill that would come to define his illustrious career in gospel music. Growing up during the Great Depression presented challenges. Money was scarce, and luxuries were few for James and his family. Unable to afford a piano, James improvised. He practiced on the windowsill, using its crevices and wedges as imaginary keys. Despite these hardships, James remained steadfast in his dedication to music. He often reminisced about those early days, dreaming of the opportunity to play on a real piano. Finally, during his high school years, his parents managed to save enough money to purchase an upright piano, marking a significant turning point in his musical journey. With his new instrument, James immersed himself in practice, refining his technique and blending traditional gospel melodies with jazz influences. His innate talent quickly caught the attention of those around him. As a teenager, James joined the Thorn Gospel Crusaders, a local gospel group where he showcased not only his vocal prowess, but also his burgeoning skills as a composer. Within the Thorn Gospel Crusaders, James's compositions began to stand out, reflecting his unique musical vision and deepening connection to gospel traditions. His ability to infuse soulful harmonies with innovative arrangements set him apart, laying the foundation for his future as a trailblazer in gospel music. As James Cleveland's compositions gained recognition within the Thorn Gospel Crusaders, his talent soon caught the attention of influential figures in the gospel music community. His early work, including the poignant composition "Grace is Sufficient," performed at a Baptist convention in 1948, marked a pivotal moment in his career. It was this performance that caught the ear of Roberta Martin, who recognized his potential and began publishing his music, catapulting James into the professional spotlight. Around the same time, James became involved with the Soul Winners for Christ, a missionary group founded by his close friend, Jesse Jemerson Phillips. Based at Chicago's Greater Harvest Baptist Church, this group included notable members such as Richard D. Henton. Immersed in this vibrant community, James deepened his commitment to gospel music and his faith, laying the groundwork for his future endeavors. However, James encountered a significant challenge when he strained his vocal cords while performing with a local group. Rather than allowing this setback to deter him, James embraced the unique gravelly texture that emerged in his voice. He saw this unexpected development as an opportunity to infuse his performances with greater depth and emotional resonance, ultimately turning what could have been a limitation into a defining characteristic of his singing style. Rise to fame. By 1950, James Cleveland had poised himself to make a significant impact on the gospel music scene. Joining the Gospel Heirs, a dynamic trio led by Norales McKeesich and Bessie Folk, Cleveland embarked on a mission to modernize traditional gospel tunes. His innovative arrangements of classics such as Give Me That Old-Time Religion and It's Me, O Lord, breathed new life into these beloved songs, showcasing his prowess as a composer and arranger. Although the Gospel Heirs disbanded shortly thereafter, Cleveland's journey continued to ascend when he crossed paths with his early idol, Roberta Martin. Martin recognized his talent and hired him as a composer and arranger, providing him with a platform to showcase his skills. It was his stirring rendition of Peace Be Still that marked a turning point in his career, propelling him into the spotlight and solidifying his reputation as a rising star in gospel music. Soon after, Cleveland forged a pivotal collaboration with childhood friend Albertina Walker, who had founded the Caravans, a gospel group that would become legendary in its own right. Joining the Caravans as a composer, arranger, pianist, occasional singer, and narrator, Cleveland contributed significantly to their repertoire. The group boasted talents like Shirley Caesar, revered as the First Lady of Gospel, and Setta George, who co-wrote some of their most enduring hits. Other notable members of the Caravans included Dolores Washington, Josephine Howard, Inez Andrews, Dorothy Norwood, James Herron, and Lolita Holloway, forming a talented ensemble that became a breeding ground for future gospel stars. In November 1954, Albertina Walker provided James Cleveland with a pivotal opportunity. She convinced States Records to let him record with the Caravans, marking his debut in a professional recording studio. Cleveland's tenure with the Caravans extended until States Records ceased operations in 1957. This period was instrumental in solidifying his reputation within the gospel music community. His collaborations with Albertina Walker continued well into the late 1970s, resulting in notable albums such as Reunion in 1977 and the iconic Please Be Patient With Me in 1979, which earned Walker her first gold record. James Cleveland's ambitions didn't end with his work with the Caravans. In 1959, he ventured into solo recording, producing a rendition of Ray Charles's hit, Hallelujah, I Love Her So, which showcased his distinctive style. By 1960, Cleveland began incorporating blues influences into his music, adding a unique flavor to traditional gospel sounds. His rendition of the Soul Stirrers song The Love of God, featuring the voices of Tabernacle from Detroit, became a commercial success, leading to a record contract that would transform his career forever. Turning point. In 1962, James Cleveland signed with Savoy Records, a historic jazz label that expanded into gospel music. This partnership resulted in an extensive catalog of soul-stirring gospel recordings, many of which were captured live in concert settings. Reverend Lawrence Roberts, pastor of the First Baptist Church in Nutley, New Jersey, was particularly enthusiastic about capturing the authentic spirit of worship on record. Cleveland and the Angelic Choir of Nutley collaborated on several albums, with their 1963 release, Peace Be Still, standing out as a landmark achievement. The album sold thousands of copies and earned Cleveland his first gold album, remaining on the Billboard charts for over 15 years. This success marked a significant milestone in Cleveland's career, establishing him as a leading figure in gospel music. Following this achievement, Cleveland moved to Los Angeles, where he took on the role of Minister of Music at Grace Memorial Church of God in Christ. In this role, he worked with renowned keyboardist Billy Preston and continued collaborating with the Angelic Choir of Nutley, New Jersey, further enhancing his popularity. In Los Angeles, Cleveland formed the James Cleveland Singers, which initially included Odessa McCassell, Georgia White, Eugene Bryant, and Billy Preston. By 1965, the group expanded to include Clyde Brown and Charles Barnett, and they began touring extensively across the United States and internationally. Their performances in major venues became highly anticipated events, showcasing their exceptional talent and spreading their powerful gospel message. The James Cleveland Singers produced numerous recordings that became gospel staples, including Heaven That Will Be Good Enough for Me, Two Wings, and The Lord Is Blessing Me Right Now. These recordings not only solidified Cleveland's reputation as a gospel music icon, but also introduced his innovative sound to a broader audience. Over the years, other talented singers joined the Cleveland Singers, adding depth and diversity to the group. Notable additions included Marva Hines and the renowned soprano soloist Cleo Kennedy, who became mainstays in the group until Cleveland's passing. Southern California Community Choir. James Cleveland capitalized on his growing fame by founding the Southern California Community Choir, SCCC, a move that would further cement his legacy. The choir quickly became a powerhouse in the gospel world. In 1975, Cleveland won his first Grammy Award with the SCCC for their 1974 album In the Ghetto, a significant milestone that marked the beginning of a string of successful collaborations with the choir. From 1970 to 1990, Cleveland and the SCCC produced several influential albums. One of their most successful releases was the 1979 album It's a New Day, which featured the hit God Is. This song became an anthem in gospel music, showcasing Cleveland's ability to blend traditional gospel with contemporary sounds. Another standout album was their 1981 release Where Is Your Faith, which further solidified the choir's reputation in the gospel music scene. The album's powerful performances and inspirational messages resonated deeply with audiences, establishing the SCCC as a leading force in gospel music. James Cleveland's final Grammy came posthumously in 1991 for the album Having Church, which featured his iconic rendition of Tremaine Hawkins' What Shall I Do? This honor highlighted the lasting impact of his contributions to gospel music. In November 1970, Cleveland made a significant move by founding the Cornerstone Institutional Baptist Church in Los Angeles. Although the church began with modest numbers, it quickly grew to thousands of members under Cleveland's inspiring leadership. In 1980, Cleveland released his first album with the church choir, The Voices of Cornerstone. This album featured memorable tracks such as Jesus, Lover of My Soul and A Praying Spirit, written by Elbernita Twinkie Clark and popularized by the Clark sisters. These songs resonated deeply with listeners, further establishing the choir's reputation. The following year, in 1981, the church choir released their second album, My Expectations, which also garnered significant attention. This album showcased the collective talent of the choir and solidified Cornerstone Institutional Baptist Church. James Cleveland's influence extended far beyond his own choir. He played a crucial role in supporting and collaborating with numerous gospel artists and groups. Among these were the Donald Vales Choraleers, the Harold Smith Majestics, the Los Angeles Gospel Messengers, and the New Jerusalem Baptist Church Choir. These collaborations resulted in timeless hits such as Lord Help Me to Hold Out and I Don't Feel No Ways Tired, further cementing Cleveland's status as a pivotal figure in gospel music. The James Cleveland Singers also experienced several iterations and welcomed many talented members over the years. The group began in 1964 with notable members like Odessa McCassell and Roger Roberts. By 1965, Clyde Brown and Charles Barnett had joined, enhancing the group's dynamic. Their extensive tours brought their powerful music to audiences across the United States and internationally, making a lasting impact on the gospel scene. During their tours, the James Cleveland Singers recorded a series of hits that became gospel classics, including Heaven That Will Be Good Enough for Me, Two Wings, and The Lord Is Blessing Me Right Now. James Cleveland's collaborations extended beyond the realm of gospel music, as he worked with renowned artists such as Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, and Elton John. His work with Aretha Franklin on her 1972 album Amazing Grace remains a landmark in gospel music history. Recorded live at the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Watts, Los Angeles, this album won a Grammy and sold millions of copies, solidifying its status as one of the greatest gospel albums of all time. The recording of Amazing Grace was also captured on film by director Sidney Pollack. Despite facing significant technical challenges, particularly synchronization issues between the audio and video, the film remained shelved for 47 years. It wasn't until producer Alan Elliott used modern technology to resolve these problems that the documentary was finally completed. Premiering in April 2019, the film brought this historic performance to a new generation of fans, further cementing Cleveland's legacy. Cleveland's influence extended to film with the historic documentary Gospel, released in 1983. This film featured performances by Cleveland and the Southern California Community Choir, along with other gospel legends like Walter Hawkins and the Family, the Mighty Clouds of Joy, Shirley Caesar, and the Clark Sisters. The film's soundtrack, released on Savoy Records, became a top seller, showcasing Cleveland's dominant presence in the gospel world. Gospel Music Workshop of America. By 1968, James Cleveland had firmly established himself as a gospel powerhouse, but his ambitions extended beyond his personal success. Driven by a desire to share his knowledge and passion with others, he co-founded the Gospel Music Workshop of America, GMWA, with Albertina Walker. This annual convention quickly became a beacon for aspiring gospel musicians and a crucial platform for the genre's growth and perpetuation. The purpose of the GMWA was clear: to bring together singers from across the country to celebrate and perpetuate gospel music. This vision resonated deeply within the gospel community, and the GMWA grew exponentially, eventually boasting over 150 chapters and 30,000 members. The GMWA featured and produced some of the greatest names in gospel music, including Donald Vails, Isaac Douglas, Myrna Summers, Sarah Jordan Powell, Darrell Coley, John P. Key, Kirk Franklin, Kurt Carr, Donald Lawrence, and Yolanda Adams. These workshops attracted thousands of adherents, fostering a sense of community and collaboration among gospel musicians. The last album James Cleveland recorded with the Gospel Music Workshop of America was their 1990 release from the previous year's annual convention in New Orleans. This marked the end of an era, as Cleveland had been a driving force behind the GMWA's success and influence in the gospel music community. Cleveland was renowned for his unique ability to transform pop, R&B, and soul songs into gospel anthems, making them resonate with spiritual depth. One of his most memorable renditions was of Gladys Knight and the Pips' "You're the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me," which he reimagined as "Jesus is the best thing that ever happened to me." This version, released in 1975 with the Charles Fold Singers of Cincinnati, Ohio, earned him a Grammy nomination and became a beloved gospel classic. Another standout example of Cleveland's talent for gospel reinterpretation was his version of Barry Manilow's "I Write the Songs." Featured on his 1977 Grammy-winning album Live at Carnegie Hall, Cleveland's rendition showcased his ability to infuse secular music with gospel fervor. His last notable gospel adaptation was Whitney Houston's "Didn't We Almost Have It All," which he transformed into "Aren't You Glad You Know the Lord?" This song was recorded in 1989 with the Northern and Southern California choirs of the GMWA on the album Breathe on Me, featuring Daryl Coley and Milton Bigham. Between 1985 and 1988, Cleveland ventured into the record business with his independent label, King James Records. Manufactured and distributed by Detroit's Sound of Gospel Records, Inc., King James Records released several notable albums. This included 3 albums with the GMWA, 1 solo release, Billy Preston's first gospel album, and 2 albums with the Los Angeles Gospel Messengers. Their first release, Praise 88, became particularly popular. James Cleveland also resurrected his James Cleveland Presents series, which brought back acts like the Craig Brothers and the 4th of May and introduced new talent such as the Harmonizing Four. Unfortunately, the label folded after the distributor closed, but not before Cleveland had made a significant impact with these releases. His efforts with the GMWA and his knack for turning pop hits into gospel classics significantly reshaped the gospel music landscape. Cleveland's ability to blend different musical styles into gospel not only broadened the genre's appeal, but also showcased his creative genius. Whether through workshops, recordings, or his record label, Cleveland's influence continued to grow, cementing his legacy as a pivotal figure in gospel music. He had a unique ability to mentor and inspire artists, ensuring that his innovative spirit lived on through their work. His legacy is not just in the music he created, but in the countless artists he influenced and the fans he inspired. Awards and death. James Cleveland's illustrious career was marked by numerous accolades and achievements, with his Grammy Awards standing out as significant milestones that underscored his immense impact on gospel music. In 1974, James Cleveland, alongside the Southern California Community Choir, achieved his first Grammy win for Best Soul Gospel Performance with the album In the Ghetto. This recognition solidified his reputation as a leading force in the gospel music genre, showcasing his ability to blend soulful rhythms with spiritual depth. Just a few years later, in 1977, Cleveland added another Grammy to his collection for Best Soul Gospel Performance, Traditional, with his electrifying live album James Cleveland Live at Carnegie Hall. This album captured the essence of his dynamic stage presence, resonating with audiences through its powerful performances. The accolades continued in 1980 when Cleveland won another Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance, Traditional, for his collaboration with the Charles Fold Singers on the album Lord, Let Me Be an Instrument. James's final Grammy came posthumously in 1991 for Best Gospel Album by a Choir or Chorus. The Southern California Community Choir's album, Having Church, featured Cleveland's iconic rendition of Tramaine Hawkins' What Shall I Do?, showcasing his enduring influence in the gospel music world. Despite grappling with declining health, James Cleveland remained steadfast in his faith and dedication to music. In the years leading up to his passing, respiratory issues had rendered him unable to sing. However, on the last Sunday before his death, he delivered a poignant message to his congregation at Cornerstone Institutional Baptist Church. If I don't see you again, and if I don't sing again, I'm a witness to the fact that the Lord answers prayer. He let my voice come back to me this morning, he shared, leaving an indelible impression on all those present. James Cleveland's words resonated deeply, reflecting his unwavering belief and the profound impact of his spiritual journey. James Cleveland passed away on February 9, 1991, in Culver City, California, at the age of 59 due to congestive heart failure. His health had deteriorated, leading to a coma shortly before his death. His passing marked a profound loss in the gospel community, where he had left an indelible mark through his music and leadership. His funeral service at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles was a testament to his enduring impact, drawing over 8,000 mourners who gathered to pay their respects. It was a solemn occasion that reflected the deep admiration and gratitude felt towards him. James Cleveland was laid to rest at Englewood Park Cemetery in Englewood, California, where he rests in peace. Despite his physical absence, his legacy lives on through his music and the countless artists he mentored and influenced throughout his illustrious career. Died intestate. When James Cleveland passed away without a will, it left behind a complex legal situation that unfolded in court. Andre Cleveland, also known as Andre McKissick, found himself entangled in a legal battle over James's estate. Andre asserted that he deserved a share of the estate, citing his close relationship with James as akin to that of a foster son. Esther McKissick, Andre's mother, had moved to Los Angeles in 1968 and lived with James Cleveland for 12 years, from Andre's childhood at age 12 until he turned 24. During this time, James financially supported Andre and even claimed him as a dependent on his tax returns. Andre argued that James had intended to adopt him, but his mother declined because she wanted Andre to retain her surname. In court, Andre sought to establish himself as an interested party under specific probate laws, which allow for inheritance by foster children or stepchildren if there is evidence that the deceased would have adopted them were it not for a legal impediment. However, the court ruled that no legal barrier existed once Andre reached adulthood at age 18, which was 16 years before James Cleveland's passing. Consequently, Andre did not meet the legal criteria to stake a claim on James's estate. On November 6, 1991, Andre McKissick filed petitions seeking to transfer property to James Cleveland's estate following his death. Annette Mae Thomas, the trustee of James's trust, opposed these petitions on grounds that Andre lacked standing as he had not been legally adopted by James. In the trust, Andre was specifically mentioned as a friend and godson, with a designated gift of $110,000, which he had already received. Annette Mae Thomas filed for summary judgment, arguing that Andre did not qualify as an interested person under probate law because the legal barrier preventing his adoption, his mother's refusal, ceased to exist when he turned 18 years old. Despite living with James for an extended period and receiving financial support, no formal adoption proceedings were initiated after Andre reached adulthood. This lack of formal adoption meant that Andre had no legal entitlement to inherit from James's estate under probate laws. Andre appealed the decision, but the appellate court upheld the summary judgment. The court underscored that for the probate law to apply, the legal barrier to adoption must have been the sole reason preventing the adoption from occurring. Once Andre turned 18 and his mother's objection was no longer an issue, James had ample opportunity to legally adopt him if he chose to do so, but he did not pursue it. Therefore, the court affirmed that Andre McKissick did not have a legal right to inherit from James Cleveland's estate, his daughter. In October 1991, Jean Irvin, a member of the Cornerstone Institutional Baptist Church, made a public assertion regarding her relationship with James Cleveland and their daughter, Leon Cleveland, who was born in 1965. Jean Irvin's statement brought attention to her claim as the mother of James Cleveland's only biological child. Her assertions also raised questions about Andre M. Cleveland, often regarded as James Cleveland's adopted son. Jean Irvin suggested that Andre was not formally adopted by James, but was one of several homeless children whom Cleveland had taken under his wing over the years. This perspective challenged the understanding of Andre's status, implying that his relationship with James was part of a broader pattern of Cleveland's generosity and support toward disadvantaged children. Leon Cleveland's existence and her relationship with her father remained largely private during James Cleveland's lifetime. However, Jean Irvin's claim brought Leon into the public spotlight, shedding light on familial ties that often took a back seat to Cleveland's public life and controversies. Irvin's statements provided a deeper understanding of Cleveland's personal life, revealing a side of him characterized by genuine human connections. It highlighted the complexity of Cleveland's family dynamics and the importance he placed on familial responsibilities. In his estate planning, drafted before his passing, Cleveland ensured that Leone was included, setting aside assets to secure her financial future. This gesture went beyond legal obligations, serving as a testament to Cleveland's paternal commitment and love, despite the challenges and intricacies of their relationship. Dark side. Beyond his musical achievements and influence, James Cleveland's life revealed darker aspects after his death, particularly concerning his former foster son, Christopher Harris. Christopher Harris, known previously as Christopher Cleveland, was a young member of Cleveland's church choir in Los Angeles. At just 13 years old, Harris stood out as the only boy alto, his tall stature making him appear older than his age. James Cleveland took a particular interest in Harris, but over time this relationship took a troubling turn. Harris alleged enduring 5 years of abuse at the hands of James Cleveland, which reportedly continued until he contracted HIV. Subsequently, Harris filed a lawsuit against Cleveland's estate seeking justice for the abuse he suffered. The case was settled out of court, and while Harris is bound by confidentiality regarding the settlement's specifics, he has shared some insights into his life with Cleveland. Harris has spoken about how Cleveland exploited his dreams and innocence. As a young aspiring singer, Harris looked up to Cleveland, who initially promised to support him, but instead used his influence to manipulate and control him. Harris's allegations were not only shocking, but also highlighted broader issues within the church and the gospel music community. James Cleveland's sexual orientation was widely known among those close to him, although it was not openly acknowledged. People within his inner circle and congregation were aware of his relationships with young men, but often chose to turn a blind eye, maintaining a culture of silence and denial. While James Cleveland's official cause of death was attributed to heart failure, Christopher Harris hinted at a different cause. Harris suggested that the heart failure diagnosis served as a cover-up for the true circumstances surrounding Cleveland's death. This insinuation added another layer of complexity to the narrative surrounding Cleveland's life and legacy. Intertwining his contributions to gospel music with the personal scandals that surfaced after his death, James Cleveland's story is a complex one. He was a musical genius who transformed gospel music, but his personal actions cast a long shadow over his legacy. How do we reconcile the remarkable achievements of an artist with the troubling aspects of their personal life? We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you found this exploration of James Cleveland's life intriguing, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into the lives of influential figures.